All right, well, it's 2 hours UTC, and it's time once again for Astronomy Daily Live. So welcome, everybody. Hey, hope everybody's doing well out there in the universe and the world. Yeah, all is well here. It's actually it's supposed to be clearing up, but the humidity is supposed to be really, really high. So don't know exactly what's going on there yet, but yeah, all is pretty well. And I'm hearing an echo from Bobby, who is battling technical difficulties of sorts. But I'm going to say howdy anyway to Bobby on the panel. Hey.
Yeah, and if Google is really watching that video, there's lots and lots of problems with Chrome OS 72, especially with the audio keep derping out and stuff. And I have to keep on rebooting after I do one thing, and when I do the next thing, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
For some whatever reason.
Yeah.
So Google needs to get that fixed.
Well, I have my extreme doubts that anyone from Google actually watches this video, but if they do, yeah, maybe they'll be able to get on that. I would think that if lots of people are having these kinds of problems, then Google probably knows about it and hopefully is on top of it. So. One never knows, though. I mean, somebody has to be first. Hey there, Earth Radio. Nice to see you. Hey, I'm going to. You made a request, Ronald, the other day about listeners recording the I Love Earth radio, and I am working on that. So if you still want that or need that,
I'd like to welcome Chuck Nagle on the chat and Justin T.
Yeah, hey, yeah.
And welcome, Ron.
Yeah, nice to
Ron
see.
From Earth Radio.
Earth Radio there. Justin T. Hey, Justin T. Tom is also there. Daniel Browning is also there.
There's Chuck Nagle.
And Chuck, hey there, Chuck. I think you might be new here. I don't recognize that name. So, well, welcome everybody. Excellent.
Hey, Daniel.
Nice to see everybody here. So here we talk astronomy and space and science and all kinds of nerdy things. Tangents are definitely allowed. So yeah, this is just a daily, fun, casual get-together of friends. It's sort of like a getting together.
I'm just gonna let you know that just in case if it happens again tomorrow, I'm definitely gonna use my other headphones, and I'm probably gonna be using a USB microphone. That's probably my best bet for now.
All right. Well, we deal with things as we have to, right? So yeah, no problem. So yeah, consider this is just us getting together on like a virtual porch, or Bobby likes to call it a virtual campfire, right? That we're all sort of gathered around and we're just chit-chatting, right? Yes. Wow. Galileo.
Wow.
Galileo was born on this day in 1564. Now, I've just grabbed my calculator, right? Which I haven't mentioned this in a while, and I definitely like to from time to time, and that is every good scientist. Every good scientist has an actual calculator within arm's reach, right, at any moment when they are working, right? So when I'm here.
I hope your wife's not watched that with your with your arms wide open and stuff.
Well, no, that's just it. See, I've got the I've got the I've got the shirt today, right? There we go. And like I was saying, every good scientist has the calculator. So it's 2019 minus 1564 plus 1. So that's 456. Wow, 456 years ago today, Galileo was
And what's
born.
the purpose of adding a +1 in the age factor?
That's just a subtraction thing. Yeah. If you do, you have to take that into account in order to account for that first year, right? Because the first year, you're technically age 0, right? 0 to 1. It starts at 0, right? So yeah. When you do a subtraction like that, you have to take that that into account. So
And so that's why you add the +1 during that
that's right. That's
to
right.
really find the age. I never learned
Exactly.
about that. I didn't learn about that.
Exactly. Well, you just sort of have to think about it. If you're counting from 1 to 2, right? Well, that's 1 and 2, right? So that's actually 2, but 2 minus 1 is 1, right? So you have to add that extra 1 in order to count them both. So yeah, I think it's just a starting from 0 kind of a thing. Yeah, that's all it is. Oh, I got a doggy alarm. Yeah. All right. Well, hope everybody is good. And yeah, I like to have a calculator on hand, within arm's reach for sure. Comes in handy for all kinds of things. But this calculator, which I've had for, I want to say probably close to 25 years, maybe even more, 26 years. It is starting to show signs of age, and one of the things that it has started to do, and I'll just sort of show you here the example. Now, this has popped up from time to time over the past couple of years, but after a couple of weeks, it's gone away. Well, this one hasn't. This problem has not gone away yet. So I've put in all 8s there. And as you can see, if it decides to focus, you can see sort of here. And sorry, it's not wanting to focus. Let's see if I can get it to focus. It's
I
not
can
going
definitely
to.
can tell what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway, do you see that right there? See, that's supposed to be an 8, but this little thing here is gone on the LCD screen,
Can it
and
be
it never
fixed,
comes
or what do you
back.
think about what you might have to do, like
I
shoot it
don't
up or
know.
something?
I mean, the one thing that sometimes fixes things really, really well is just give it a good bang, right? Just give it a good smack. I haven't tried
Oh
that
no,
yet.
I mashed a calculator one time and it definitely messed up the display.
um, and Daniel, yes, it does have a cover. Yeah, so I can cover it up, but when it has a cover on it, I find that it's really hard to use. So yeah, I usually just have it out, but yeah, this has served me well for a very, very long time. I do have this guy, which it's all this needs. It's all this needs is some batteries, right? Which I should probably get, but this is your good old dusty HP, and it's actually an HP 41CA. I don't know if you can see that or not. For some reason, this thing is not deciding to focus tonight. So anyway, it definitely is a 41CA. Well, yeah. I mean, Daniel, I can go in both ways. It's just a matter of perspective. But as you can see with this HP, right, it needs these little batteries, these batteries in there, which I don't have. So I'm gonna
Yeah,
have
those
to.
good old watch batteries. I know that for sure.
Yeah, no, these are actually special batteries. I don't know if they're specific to HPs, but they're sort of funky
Probably
looking.
not something you can get at a local Walmart or something, huh?
It's not. I don't think it's anything that one can get at a Walmart. No, I'm going to have to get these online. So yeah, but really, it's just a matter of doing that, and then I'll have an HP, which is always nice. And then, if all else fails, there's a calculator on the smartphone, which I don't really use. And if all else fails, I'm trying to find it here. Trying to find it. I don't know where I put that thing.
Where did it go? Where did it go?
Where did it go? Where did it go? I don't know. Is it? Let's see if it's. Let me see if it's up here. Here it is. If
Just
all
trying to
else,
escape from you.
if all else fails, right? I've got the good old trusty slide rule here, right? The good old trusty slide rule, which I have absolutely no problem. And yeah, pencil and paper works, but
Yeah,
man,
put your heart into it, your mind, your heart into it.
that's just way too much effort. Come on, focus camera. Bam. All right, here we go. So yeah, I actually have the original warranty for this thing, right? It's an actual warranty. It's got a warranty number on it. I've got the little book for it, right? Showing you. It's a very kind of weird booklet, right? It's this skinny thing. But yeah, it shows you how to use this thing to a certain extent. I thought there was something else too, but yeah, I guess that's it. Anyway, so in terms of having to calculate, I've got it covered, and you're exactly right, Daniel. If need be, I can resort to the pencil and the paper, and which I don't have an aversion to, but man, that's sort of the hardest, right?
You're talking about one of those refrigerator style whiteboards, Daniel? The ones that you can just put it on the refrigerator, be a magnet?
Yeah, Daniel, I actually thought about putting up some kind of whiteboard for the live stream here, and that is still a possibility. I'd have to figure out, you know, where exactly to do that. It's oftentimes just a lot easier to share my screen and go into Paint or something like that, and draw on that, which I've done also. So yeah, there's
I think it's
lots
nice
of
to install
possibilities.
MT Paint.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, and I'm not much into teaching, but I'm definitely into showing and sharing, and that kind of stuff. And sometimes those kinds of things might come in handy. So yeah. So Chuck has got an FX 300 Plus. What is this thing? This is a. Now, what happened there? I don't know. I got some black gunk on the screen, but this is a Casio FX 300 SA. So
I think it just saw its days.
yeah, I'm not sure, but it's got the solar panel up here, so it doesn't need a battery. I mean, it probably has an internal battery that charges, but I've never opened this up or anything. I mean, I've never had to, and of course, it's got all the functionality that is needed. I use this key quite a bit. This actually converts. You can punch in like hours, minutes, and seconds, and it'll actually convert to decimal hours, right? So I can turn it on, and I can do like, I'm going to do this backwards. And you can see all the keys are worn out, right? So I can do like 12 hours, 30 minutes, 3. Oh, where's the 0? I don't remember. Is this the 0? There's the 0.
Oh.
30 minutes like that. Oh, that's not quite right. 12 hours, 30 minutes. And you can see that it'll go to 12.5. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's
I can barely see the display on that as well.
Yeah, it's a little funky because of the lighting and everything too. So anyway, yeah. As I said, sort of tongue in cheek, but an ounce of truth, and that is every good scientist should have an actual calculator, right? A physical button calculator on hand. This thing is just not focusing tonight.
I think if I'm not mistaken, if you put your phone in a landscape orientation on a calculator app, I think you get the science. That's what they have on 101D.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I'm I don't really like to say this out loud in sort of the presence of this guy, but I'm thinking that I'm going to start moving to this. I sort of like the idea that it's the same size, right? It's almost exactly the same size, and I think you're exactly right, Bobby. If I go into here and start up the calculator, at least eventually. Where's the calculator here? Calculator. So if you go this way, you get that, right? But if you go sideways, are you saying it switches? Oh, it does. Look at that. Ooh. Wow. So yeah. So we've got pretty much everything there. The only thing that I don't see
is on the opposite side on my phone. if you was up to like if I was up to show it to you.
Oh, okay. Um, I guess the only complaint that I have, and the only thing that I don't see that I use pretty regularly is memory, right? I like to be able to um, punch in, numbers into memory, and I don't see a memory thing there at all. So
Well, what if you use the history function? I can see it's got a history function.
yeah, that is just a history of the calculations that have been done, right? So that just shows these things, right?
Uh,
So yeah,
yeah,
so
kind of.
that
It doesn't have
yeah, so it doesn't have,
But if you look at calculator apps on Google Play, they might have a better version of it that might have a memory
yeah,
function.
yeah.
So thank you for that suggestion, Chuck.
Yeah, I'm really hesitant though to move onto the smartphone. I don't know why. I like the actual thing, and I don't need anything fancy, right? I don't need any of the graphing stuff and um, um, programming and all that. See, but this thing has what, 6 memory registers, right? It goes from A to B, C, D, E, and F in terms of memories, right? So I mean, it's got a lot of memory. Um, but yeah, I should probably look and see if there are any interesting apps. Um, Although, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm reluctant, to move to the smartphone on that. But maybe that's just because I'm a little old and a little stubborn. I don't know.
I
So
think it's still in today's schools. I think they pretty much like push people to use the calculator they give to you and have your phones turned off and in your lockers for sure.
mm, yeah, yeah.
But you could have
Well,
them like during recess and maybe play a game or something.
hmm yeah. I think, I mean, once you sort of understand the fundamentals of calculation, I don't see any problem, with actually using a calculator, because the only thing that a calculator does really is it speeds the process up, right? So once you understand, you know, how to add and how to subtract and how to do all these functions, right? And what these functions actually mean, right? Once you understand that, then as far as I'm concerned, it's sort of a waste of time or a misuse of time to have to do everything by hand.
I remember, please excuse my dear age salad parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, once you understand all those things, then why should you be limited to having to do all those things by hand when you can just punch them in, right? It's just, I mean, these are tools, right? They're not going to give you the answers, right? These are just tools, right? To make the process easier, right? It's like, when you have to hammer a nail into a piece of wood, right? Are you going to use your finger and just push, or are you going to get a hammer, right, and bang it in, right? Now you could push and eventually it'll go in, right? But it's going to take you a long time. So why not get the hammer, right? And just, give it a couple of whacks and you're done, right? I've always had, and I don't know if this is the case anymore, but at least when I was growing up, calculators were banned, right? They were like, don't even think about using a calculator at all. And I never understood that, because it's like, why do I want to sit here and add things by hand and multiply things by hand? I know how, right? I mean, it's not as if I don't know how, right? But instead of taking 5 minutes to do some kind of a complicated calculation by hand, why not let me use the calculator to do it really, really fast, right? So, and I've told the story a couple of times before. When I was in the 8th grade, right, and that was in I would have been 1983. Calculators, were just sort of getting popular, right? And they were forbidden, right? It's like, don't even think about bringing a calculator in, right? Well, I thought that was stupid, right? And I still think it's stupid. So what I did instead is I brought in my slide rule. And it's like, I'm going to see, what's going to happen when I start doing, my calculations with the slide rule instead, right? Well, it turns out that in order to properly use a slide rule, right, you have to really understand what you're doing, right? You have to understand what the process is, right? And so my 8th grade teacher saw this, and he was like, okay, you can use that. Yeah, no problem at all. And my classmates were just livid, right? They were just they thought I was cheating, right? And I explained to them exactly as I just explained now. It's like, this is not going to give me the answers, right? There's absolutely no way at all, right? And in a lot of ways, actually using a slide rule is harder, right? Because you have to keep track of decimal points and all that. So in certain ways, it's actually harder, right? But and at the time, right, being what, 12 years old, 13 years old, I had no concept of logarithms at all, right? So I had absolutely no idea how this thing actually worked, right? I just knew that, to do a multiplication, I could move this along, to a certain number, and then, slide this along, and I'd get, my answer, right? I mean, I'd be able to read it off, right? And I could not understand for the life of me why I couldn't add and subtract with this thing, right? I mean, now I understand, right? Because slide rules are based on the logarithmic scale, and adding logarithms is the same as multiplying, right? It's just a different space. But there is no equivalent to adding numbers in a logarithmic space. So slide rules can't do it. So yeah. I'm fully in favor of using any tool that's available to solve your problem.
And I cannot believe that your 8th grade math teacher did not send you to the principal's office.
No, he was actually really, really impressed. Because I showed him, that I could use it, and I was explaining, to him you know, how. And yeah, you know, he thought that was really, really great. And like I said, you know, to be able to use a slide rule, you really have to understand what the process is, right? I mean, you can't just plug and chug, right?
And I
So
guess you had
so
that slide rower before there was ever was the internet, huh?
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. As I said, you know, this was early 1980s. Yeah, you know, the internet existed, but not. I mean, it was
Not modern day internet like HTTP and stuff.
no, no, not at all, not at all. Yeah.
I would
Um,
never, even though bulletin board system were around that time, I
mhm.
never experienced the BBS. The first thing I ever touched in the world of digital communications was to actually dial up internet.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I did BBSs. I used Gopher. I don't know if anybody remembers Gopher. That was
Now,
for
out
sure.
of curiosity, do you think you can still access the BBS servers, or they're pretty much obsolete?
I think that bulletin board services are still out there. I haven't checked into that for forever, right? But I'm thinking that those kinds of things are still out there. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
can't be absolutely certain about that, but I think so. Yeah, because information is information, right? And you know, they might have had to, you know, evolve that a little bit. But yeah, you know, my first browser, internet browser, was a thing called Mosaic. Does anybody remember Mosaic? That was late '80s, early '90s, and then Netscape came along in the uh, I think early '90s or so, maybe mid '90s, something like that. So yeah,
I think back in the 80s and the 90s, Netscape Navigator was the king of browsers.
Netscape was pretty darn awesome. I gotta say, yeah, for sure. And that's where I learned
Now you don't know what is that browsers unless you're more of a Chrome person. I think there's a lot of people today that uses Chrome over Firefox, Edge, Opera, whatever.
yeah. I think I agree. And but you know, there's a lot more users now too. So you have to sort of you think in terms of percentage and but yeah. You know.
And if you've been following Geo's lately, I heard Edge is going to be switching cores to like their proprietary core to Chromium.
Oh, okay. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I haven't looked into Chromium much. But
Well, if you use Chrome, you actually are using Chromium.
okay. Yeah. Well, because like you said, Chromium is the core, right? Cool. All right. Well, enough about that. This live stream usually is about astronomy, but you know, I mean, with astronomy comes a lot of calculation, right? A lot. Um, uh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I did Telnet. You only wants to build like a demonstration of a Telnet. That day there was like one time I saw like the first half of Star Wars Episode 4 on Telnet. And that was pretty darn cool.
Oh wow. Yeah. I use Telnet a lot. A lot. Yeah. You know, because well, that that was the thing, right? In the late '80s, early '90s, telnet was that was it. Yeah, I'm pretty
I
sure.
remember using Usenet. You ever heard Usenet?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Usenet is I believe like a bulletin board service, right? That's sort of one of the bulletin board service things. And I think Usenet is still around, right? I think so.
Yeah, I used that one time to like download music and movies
Hmm.
and TV shows. I think that's another thing you can use that up.
Yep, yep. Very, very cool. Yeah, I'm thinking, that a lot of the protocols that were developed then are probably still used now. You just don't see it. They're buried right on top of all these layers, right? Um, but yeah, like I was saying, when you get into astronomy, not so much the amateur side, but um, definitely when you move into the professional side, calculation. I mean, you are working with numbers and formulas constantly, right? I mean, uh, that's and again, those are just tools that we've sort of chosen to use to help us do our work and try to interpret things and build models and all of that. So yeah, these little calculating devices certainly come in handy, for sure. But yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm a little bit worried about my little screen there. So because that problem hasn't gone away yet, and so what I do, right, is if I have a number like 12.3456789, right, and I'm looking at that, right, and it's like, okay, oh, what did I do? 12.36789. Yeah, see, so I look at this and it's like, okay, is that an 8? Is it a 9? Is it a 6? Is it a 2? I don't know, right? I don't know. So I actually have I I just divide by 1,000 and I can bring that number down here, right? And I can actually see it. So I'm using sort of a slide rule trick on my calculator to figure out what those numbers are, and it's a major pain. But hopefully I'm not going to have to. The calculator that I had prior to this, I had for about 23 years or so. Um, well, maybe not that long. No, maybe about 15 years or so, when it finally gave up the ghost. So this thing has actually lasted uh, quite a long time, right? And I don't like to give up these kinds of things, because they sort of become, old friends, old reliable friends that you know I've known.
It's like if you have short life and stuff, and it's about to see its days, and sorry, but I'm and it's hard, but sometimes you may not have a choice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I'll do, right, is I will go. I'll make a special trip, and maybe not even a special trip, but next time I um, go into Tucson, I will go over to the university bookstore, and I will look at the calculators there, and I will grab a new one, right? So that's, either that or I'll find an app on the sky, right? Either one. Um, uh, we'll see. So yeah,
Yeah.
punishment
Okay.
test, crowdfunding.
So where do we want to go? You either want to look at those ISS SSCB images, or you want to continue on Leo?
Well, we can quickly look at the images that you grabbed from the International Space Station. By the way, I posted over on my Discord channel, which you can find an invite to in the description below. I posted a link to a website that if you type in your latitude and longitude and altitude, it will tell you if and when the International Space Station is going to be passing in front of either the sun or the moon for your location. So I actually checked my location. Um, um, the only downside to the site, and I partially understand why, um, uh, is that you can only make a prediction out one month, right? So um, uh, at least until what, March 15th or so, 16th. Here in my location, there are no transits of the moon or sun by the space station. There's a couple of close passes of the moon, a couple degrees away. But what I'm looking for, and I think I'll probably try to live stream this, if it's sort of a reasonable time. Maybe if it even isn't a reasonable time, I don't know. But I'll put the webcam on this gray telescope here, the 5-inch Celestron, and I'll take it outside and I will live stream that transit. Now, the actual transit lasts for maybe a second or so, right? So really, really, really fast. But what I'll do is I will record it, right? Um, uh, and then we'll be able, to watch it live. And after it takes place, we'll be able to watch it. Uh, so yeah. Well, Daniel, you spoke too soon. Do you see, this happened to the smartphone quite a while ago, right? I think what happened is that the batteries got too hot and they expanded. And so I've got this big gap here. It still works fine, right? And I've dropped it. I dropped it once here. You see that little thing there? And then I noticed, and I don't know how this one happened, but there's a big dent right here. Do you see that? So I don't know
Oh
when that
yeah.
happened. Yeah, I honestly don't know when that happened. So but
I think I had this phone for about 2 to 3 years, and I never had. And I'm super careful with it for sure.
yeah. Well, I think, whoa, I know for sure that this one, I dropped it from just a couple of feet, right? And it landed, just right on the corner there. And I picked it up and it's like, oh man. So, but I've seen actually some people's smartphones and their entire screens are just, smashed, right? And they're still using them, right? So
Yeah, man.
whatever.
I hate cracked screen and stuff like that.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
nope, I'm gonna get myself another phone, and that's a good thing you like about prepay is if you just crack it or something like bust the screen, when you get your money again, you could always get yourself another phone.
Well, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, Daniel, I totally agree. I like the standalones. I have dropped this thing uh, a billion times, right? A billion trillion times, right? And never any kind of problem at all. Now, I mean, it's not as if I'm dropping it, from 50 feet, right? I mean, it drops, from the top of the desk
That's another
to the
topic that
floor.
we need to discuss is talk about curiosity.
Curiosity.
Yeah, yeah, curiosity. Batteries ran out.
You're talking about opportunity.
No, it's curiosity.
Curiosity. I don't think so. I don't think so. That is the current rover on Mars, and unless this is new news, like as of today, um, but I think you're
Yeah.
talking about opportunity.
No,
Yeah,
it's actually yeah. Oh, yeah, it's opportunity.
yeah,
Curiosity is alive and well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let me
So thank you.
let me give my little rant about opportunity, very, very, very briefly. I think it's really, really weird why and how everyone for months now, has been crying about this rover. I don't quite understand why everybody's so upset about this. Um, I think it's a little weird. I think it's a little weird and strange. Um, we've lost several spacecraft, several rovers, and it's uh, except for this one, everybody has sort of been like, oh, that's sad, but goodbye, right? And for some reason, it seems really, really weird to me that for I mean, there have been campaigns, right, to try to revive opportunity, and now for since they finally are saying we're done with this thing, right? Um, the internet is just bawling over this rover, and I mean I understand that losing a spacecraft, losing a rover is a real bummer, right? But what why is everybody being so weird about this, right? I mean, I don't know. It seems a little strange to me, and I don't really understand what the big deal is, right? Um, when
I say this, but I only use Twitter to like post my radiogram decodes, my radiogram images.
Yeah, no, Daniel, back in May or June, right? There was a dust storm on Mars, a planetary dust storm, right? Which knocked out this rover, right? It's solar powered, right? It got really, really dark, and it died, right? And ever since then, right? And you know, maybe it's because I'm paying attention. I don't know, but ever since then, there has been such crying, such wailing such hand wringing about opportunity, right? Spirit, right? Its twin rover, right? Got stuck in a sand dune back in 2009, and everybody was like, well, okay, it's done, bye. And that was it, right? No hand wringing, no bawling, no, let's try to revive it, and all of this weird stuff, and
If you
personifying
were
it.
taught to have a manned mission to Mars, would you be able to revive uh that other rover, that
Um,
spirit rover?
I don't know what Spirit's condition is. My guess is that even though it did get stuck in 2009, I think they turned it off. Um, this this global dust storm um, would have knocked it out too, right? Because it's solar powered as well, and it's got batteries, but they have to be able to recharge, and it's cold on Mars, right? So they have to keep everything warm, which takes a substantial amount of power. At least I would say at least several tens of watts, right? So I mean, if you have to run your battery at lots of watts, um,
I
your
want to
batteries are
know what's
gonna.
your opinion about NASA not doing anything much today and stuff.
What do you mean?
I mean, if you look at the chat and look at the last message from that Daniel sent.
NASA isn't doing much these days. Daniel, I disagree. Just because they may not be doing any missions or anything. NASA is for sure just as pretty much just as busy as it's always been. So yeah, a
Especially
lot
when
of the things.
about that stupid shutdown what Tim Robinson called the Tangerine Spectre called him.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I just find it a little weird how how much mourning is going on for the Opportunity rover, right? Um, you know, and maybe my perspective is different, right? I mean, it was supposed to last for 9 months, and it lasted for 15 years, right? So I don't I don't see anything to be sad about whatsoever. Absolutely nothing, right? I mean, it's sort of like the life expectancy of one of us is say 75 years, and we live 15 times 20 times longer than that. 75 times 20, 1,500 years, right? I think that's pretty awesome, right?
Can you like agree with Uncle Bill Druin said it's supposed to be like 30 days, not 8 9 months like
Oh,
previously planned?
90 days. Yeah, we'd have to go back and actually look and see what the original mission was. But yeah, actually, I think um, um, Uncle Bill is correct, right? That yeah, um, I think the original thing was actually 90 days, and yeah, I mean it lasted 15 years, right? So what exactly is there to be sad about? I don't get it, right? And this extended sadness and
I can
mourning.
remember like losing your mother at a very early age. But losing the lover like that and like crying over about it, no, no, no,
It's
no.
it.
At least you should like have a memorial service and have all the pictures of opportunity, the best pictures and stuff like that, and just say, okay, let's just have a memorial.
Well, and maybe maybe I'm just being incredibly not sensitive, but you know what? It's a machine, right? It's a device. It's an instrument, right? And when a device breaks down and doesn't work anymore, what do you do?
You cut it out.
You throw it away, right? And
Yeah.
and I mean, even like this guy, right? I mean, when this dies, I'm gonna. I mean, I'm not necessarily gonna be sad, right? It's gonna be like, oh, that's a bummer. And that's it, right? So anyway, I just find it really, really, really weird that when they lost communication with it during the dust storm, there was an immediate campaign to uh, uh, reconnect to it and don't give up, right? They were going to give up in October, and there was such an outcry that they continued until now, right? And it's like, why? Why? I don't get that, right? I mean, is it because people's jobs are at stake? I don't know. There's absolutely no explanation except there's
Yeah,
this.
why would you be crying when you're supposed to be happy?
Well, and there's this really, really, really weird personification of this rover, right? They're treating it like a living thing, right? And it's not, right? It's wires and screws and cameras and software, right? Uh, it's like it it did really, really, really well, right? Um, so I'm not sad at all, right? I mean, it's a bummer, right? We don't want to have to lose things, right? But look, I mean, here's a perfect example. Okay, we we launched the Cassini spacecraft that went to Saturn, right? And it was at Saturn for something like 20 years. Is that right? Maybe not quite that long, right? And then they said, okay, we're running out of fuel, to be able to maneuver around. What are we going to do? Well, let's do a grand finale, right? We're going to plunge this thing into Saturn, right? Okay, which they did, right? They plunged it into Saturn for a couple of days. Everybody was just sort of like, this is a bummer, right? And that was it, right? There was no weird wailing about, oh, let's try to keep it alive and let's save it and come back, and all this weird stuff, right?
It's like if you were like a WCW or WWE 90s style. It's like dun 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 boom 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 dun 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 boom dun 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 boom dun dun dun.
And that's it. We're done,
Oh my
right?
gosh!
Right.
Oh my gosh!
So yeah, that's sort of my rant on that. I find it really, really weird and creepy that so many people in sort of the space science and astronomy community are crying over this thing, where it's like it did so well, right? What I I don't get it, right? I just don't get it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm catching up on the chat here. So Daniel is talking about going to the moon, and Uncle Bill mentions that China's up there. Yeah, yeah. In fact, China has 2 landers on the moon that are running right now. One of them has a telescope on it. So that's been operating for like 4 years now. So let's see. Okay, well, cool. Let's that was a complete tangent away from looking at Bobby's really awesome SSTV images that he got from the space station as it passed over his location. So let's take a quick look at that.
Passed over twice.
It passed over twice. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and you got some images both times. So I'll pull up the first one here. I'm going to share my screen. Dun, 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 dun. I haven't shared my screen yet today. It's terrible. I know. I'm sorry that you folks have to stare at this ugly mug the whole time. That's not my intention.
Not wanted by the FBI.
Yeah. So there's the first one, and yeah, definitely some dropouts and stuff, but not too bad. Not too bad. A little bit of noise. But yeah, so these are images that are being transmitted from the space station. What frequency is this?
It's 145.8 megahertz using narrowband FM.
Cool, very cool. And then you have a decoder, right?
Yeah, this one is being used with MMSSTB.
Nice. So is it true that the signal is a digital signal then? Is that the right way to characterize that?
I don't know the characteristics of sending out SSTB.
Oh, okay.
So, and yes, Chuck, I use a RTL SDR dongle with a telescopic whip antenna.
Very cool. Yeah. And of course it has to be in your sky, right? It has to be line of sight, right? Is that right? Oh, did we lose Bobby? Maybe we lost Bobby. We lost Bobby. Oh, there he's coming back. He's coming back. Is he there?
Yeah, I don't know what happened and stuff like that.
All right. So, anyway, so there's.
You were asking again.
I don't remember what I was asking. I'm just going to move on to the next one here. So
yeah, this one had a very big drop up at the bottom.
Yeah. So do these images, do they come in from the top or from the bottom? Do they scan down or do they scan up?
They go from the top to the bottom.
Top to the bottom. Okay. Cool. And somehow, and maybe you can't answer this, but I mean, how does the decoder know when the top of the image is and the bottom of the image? How do you get that? I mean, uh, does it wait until it sees some kind of a signal saying, this is the beginning of the image? Because I mean, as it's passing over you, right? Maybe it's transmitting, here, right? And it's gonna show all of this first. So how does it know to start at the beginning like that? I don't know. I think Bobby has dropped out again. Oh yeah, he's completely dropped out. All right. Well, he's not going to be able to answer my questions then. That's too bad. All right. Yeah. Well, he's having some technical difficulties, as you all can see. So I think I'm going to check the chat one more time. Can I unban you from the call? Bobby, I don't think that you're unbanned. I don't even know where to check that. You're definitely not on the panel anymore, but I don't think that you're banned in any way. Anyway, I think I'm going to get out of here for today anyway. We didn't cover the constellation Leo anymore at all, so we'll definitely try to pick that up again. But that's part of the nice thing about having a daily live stream is that there's no rush at all, right? So going off on tangents about calculators and weird behavior of humans and stuff, that's allowed. You are banned from the call, huh? Well, that's not me. That's not me, Bobby. So I think probably, like I said, I think it's about time to get on out of here anyway. So, all right, I'm just going to check with Space TV one more time. Maybe the link expired. Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Just thought it was a great phone. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Like I said, this situation with opportunity to me is a little creepy, right? It's a little weird. It's like, okay, people, it's time to move on, right? Opportunity did some incredible stuff. So what exactly are we crying about here? I don't know. Let's move on, and we've got tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of data. If you go to the planetary data system, right, you can look at all the data that came from this rover, right? You can look at all the images, all the measurements, all of it, right? And it's absolutely fantastic, right? So I'm just asking, right? What exactly are we crying about here? It's weird and it's creepy. So let's get over it, right? Anyway, so check for blocked users on the settings, huh? I'm not seeing anything at all. Let me look here. No, not seeing anything. Probably the easiest solution, Bobby, is I'm just gonna cut it off for today. We will pick up again tomorrow. All right. So take care, everybody. Have a great evening, a great day. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't. Spread the word. Tell your friends. This live stream is for newbies. It's for the amateurs. it's for the pros, right? I definitely like to get some pros in here, to talk about what they're working on, what they're doing, what they're thinking, and everybody else too, right? The field of astronomy is a huge field, and there's always something to talk about and to think about. So yeah, I want to keep this open to anyone who wants to come in, um, and either completely have the floor and talk about their own thing, or have this kind of conversation, right? It's all awesome, right? All incredibly awesome and fun. So all right, take care everybody. I will see you in a little less than 23 hours from now. All right, take care everybody. Bye. Peace and cheers. Bye.